During the early 1800s, many Irish and German people immigrated to the United States. Here's Aoife and Schlatt, one Irish person and one German person who fell in love when they arrived in America despite all of their differences.
Back in Ireland, all of our potatoes were going bad. There was so much rain and everyone was famished. All of my friends and family were dying. In the 9th funeral that I went to of the week, I decided enough was enough. I started saving up money to go to America, where I then settled down. But the Americans were not as welcoming as I imagined. But all I need is my little Schlatt here. Yes, I am Schlatt and I am from Germany and I hate it there. Everyone was dying and our economy was failing and everyone was fighting against the government. I am now here in America with Aoife.
Wow, they definitely had a journey. Speaking of journeys, here's a letter that was sent to another Irish person in America, John Curtis, from his Uncle William Doone to explain the devastation going on back in Ireland. One reason the Americans did not like the immigrants, besides them taking jobs and ruining things such as their California for Americans, was because they thought that they were better than them. Because they were better than them, they had special things given to them by God, such as what the Manifest Destiny talks about.
Hi there, my name's John Smith and I only love 3 things. My horse, this is Francine, God, and America. Mixing them all together, you get the great grand manifest destiny. The manifest destiny was our divine right as Americans by God that we could expand westward in America and take all this land. And it was, sometimes we had to kill the people in the way because we needed to kill them, and that was completely haha, I tricked you. I do not like the Manifest Destiny. The Manifest Destiny was actually a mass racial genocide, killing all the natives just so the Americans could have this land. They didn't even take into consideration anyone else.
Here is an image that is used very commonly to represent what the Manifest Destiny was. Now, talking about more crazy ideas that seem totally unreal, let's talk about Kansas. I know you may think that Kansas isn't actually a real place, but according to history and real life, it is. And to make things even more unbelievable, it was bleeding! Kansas is bleeding. Kansas bleeding was violent conflict in Kansas during the mid-1800s due to people fighting about slavery. The Kansas-Nebraska Act split a big chunk of land and allowed for new states to decide whether they were going to be pro or anti-slavery by using popular sovereignty. Kansas bordered both a slave and an anti-slave state, so the inhabitants from those states came to Kansas and started fighting an effort to turn the state's decision for slavery into their favor. These people were crazy, and they were literally murdering each other just because they had different ideas of what should happen, which is reasonable, but they were still murdering. Oh man, that was a lot of talking, and now I'm starving. I want to eat some food. Oh my, it's a sugar cane! My favorite food! Do you want to know what else is like canes? The caning of Charles Sumner. And I know what you're thinking, this one isn't exactly death, but it could have resulted in death, and it inspired a lot of others' death. Charles Sumner was your average anti-slavery advocate who adjusted the Senate about the issue of Kansas being a free or slave state. However, Sumner had quite the mouth that went against Southern charm and stated that Andrew Butler had some romantic relations with a slave mistress. Enraged, Preston Brooks, Butler's South Carolinian kinsman, struck Sumner many times with his cane until he was unconscious, and struck him even more after. He could not believe what Sumner had said, and he claimed it to be very inaccurate. This event could have very well led to Sumner's death, and this situation also represented the tensions that would have even further divided the North and the South, resulting in more deaths between the North and the South later in the future. After a little more time has passed, there is now a war! Yay! So fun! Just kidding, that was a joke. Because there was a war going on, soldiers were needed. Not enough people were willing to die for their country, so the federal draft law was created, which pulled men ages 20 through 45 into the army without choice unless they were willing to pay the exemption fee. The New Yorkers became enraged. One day, I was just walking home from work and I found out my little Sammy Sue was drafted to the army. I was outraged. I can't believe they took my little boy and are making him fight. I had so much anger. It was pouring out of me. I had to do something, and that something was rioting. So I rioted. Riot. The New York draft riots were some of the most destructive riots in all of U.S. history, and many people were killed, especially African Americans.
Are you guys willing to sacrifice anything or anything to win this war?
Sir!
Okay, great.
Total war was a method used during the Civil War where the military, government, and people were willing to do anything to win the war. This included sacrificing many people's lives at battle, resulting in a large amount of deaths. This explains one of the reasons why the Civil War was America's most deadly conflict ever. This is a picture showing what total war looked like. This is Sherman's March to Sea. Sherman's March to Sea was when General William Sherman led a large group of soldiers from Atlanta all the way to Savannah in order to scare the Southern Confederates into abandoning the Confederate cause. Along the way, the soldiers would set houses on fire, cause chaos and destruction, and also kill many innocent people.
It is now time for the Reconstruction concert of death. Winners live, losers die.
Yeah! Exodusters was the name for the African Americans who were forced into sharecropping in the South when they did not want to. In sharecropping, they were not able to make enough money to provide for their families, causing many unnecessary deaths and violence to begin to emerge between the sharecroppers and the landowners because they did not want to sharecrop. This led to the African Americans migrating to Kansas and more northern territories where they could hopefully be free from this.
Wow, what an amazing song. I rate it a 10 out of 10. Let's go to the next song. What's wrong with the world, mama? People living like they got no mama. I think the whole world's addicted to the drama. Only tracking things that'll bring us trauma. Overseas, yeah, we trying to stop terrorism, but we still got terrorists here living in the USA, the big CIA. The Bloods and the Crips and the KKK was a terrorist organization group that did whatever they could in their power to stop black people from voting because they were white supremacists.
They even resulted in killing them.
Oh wow, that was very dark. Anyways, the winner of the competition is Abraham Lincoln? But I thought you were dead.
Yes, it is I, Abraham Lincoln. You might tell because I'm so tall. Anyways, I may have died physically, but not mentally, because I will always remain an important figure in U.S. history. Now, that I'm here, I might as well just tell you how I died and why it's so important. When I was going to watch a play in my box at Ford's Theater, a slave supporter, John Wilkes Booth, believed that I was trying to destroy his so-loved South by abolishing slavery so there would be no way for Booth and his friends to make a living. Even if that wasn't my intended purpose of abolishing slavery, Booth didn't care and he decided to shoot me. My death was very sad and it led to the North hating the South even more, which made Reconstruction much harsher on them.
That was death.